Today I will be ranking every shiny Pokemon from Generation 1. Before we get into the tier list, let me quickly explain what each tier represents. First up, S tier is for what I would call the perfect shiny Pokemon. There's absolutely nothing I would change. A tier is reserved for the best looking shinies, but there are one or two things I would do differently. B tier is for some solid shinies. There are some good qualities, some bad, but overall it's a decent shiny. C tier is for the lackluster shinies. They're just pretty bad, but could be worse. And finally, F tier is for the absolute worst shinies I've ever seen. With that all now out of the way, let's get into the ranking. Starting off with Mankey, this shiny isn't all too special. Apart from its slightly mint color, not much else has changed. This one goes into C tier. Dratini has a much better shiny. The pink works well as a counterpart to its original blue color and just stands out. Dratini is the first in A tier. Graveler's shiny makes sense for the type of Pokemon it is. With that being said, I still don't like it. I wish it had more of a gold color like Geodude. Graveler rolls into C tier with Mankey. There's one thing going for Weedle with this shiny, and that's the brighter color. Other than that, it's almost the same as the original. C tier for Weedle. Venomoth sneakily has one of the better shinies for bug Pokemon. The mix of lighter and darker blue colors look really nice and complement each other well. Venomoth is our second Pokemon in A tier. This is a complicated shiny for me. On one hand, the pink body does go well with the flames on its wings, but I feel like there was such a missed opportunity to do something really cool with the flames. Moltres flies into B tier. Spearow shiny is far from memorable. It is different from the original, but it's just really bland. Spearow, welcome to C tier. The gold bud on Ivysaur's back is great, but everything else about this shiny is underwhelming. If it were me, I would either have the leaves or body be a different color. Ivysaur soars into C tier. Poliwrath, unlike the previous members of its evolutionary line, has a shiny that stands out. It's simple, but the green is bright and pops out at you, so for that, it goes into B tier. This is one of the worst shinies in all of Pokemon. If you showed me a picture of this, I wouldn't even realize it's the shiny version of Abra. Abra belongs to F tier. Ignore me accidentally placing it in the wrong tier. I'm just not a fan of this color choice for Machopp's shiny. I wish it was more similar to Machamp's color style. If it was, I would rank it higher, but since it isn't, Machop gets to go in the fast-growing C tier. Nidoran female has exactly what I would describe as a solid shiny. The shade of pink used is really nice. I would probably pick a different color for its ear, but maybe that's just me. This one is B tier. Raichu's shiny has grown on me. Originally I was going to rank it lower, but I do think the orange matches the aesthetic of Raichu. I'm going to choose B tier for Raichu. Victreebel has an underrated shiny. It's not amazing or anything, the leaves aren't great, but the blue and green look cool together. B tier for Victreebel. I don't love Magneton's shiny. I wish it had some more color to it, even if it was just something like the magnets. Magneton gravitates towards C tier. Now this is how the flames for a shiny should look. The body hasn't changed much, but that's overshadowed by its blazing blue flames. For that alone, Ponyta goes in B tier. There's only so much you can do with the shiny for a pink blob, but I think Ditto's shiny is done really well, all things considered. I love the blue and it just looks right. Ditto joins exclusive company in A tier. The shiny for Slowpoke is really bad. It's almost as if they forgot to make it a shiny. That's how similar it looks to a typical Slowpoke. Automatic F tier for Slowpoke. Arbok is a cool Pokemon, and so is its shiny. It looks like it would be the mascot for the Lakers with the purple and gold color scheme. Arbok slithers its way into B tier. Nidorina's shiny builds off the one for Nidoran female. They both have the same pink and green colors, so it only seems fair to give it the same ranking as its predecessor, which is B tier. Speaking of predecessors, Magnemite's shiny is just as bland as its successor. It needs more to it, that's all. Magnemite forces its way to C tier. Mew has a phenomenal shiny. There's just something about pink Pokemon having blue shinies and blue Pokemon having pink shinies that I love. 22 Pokemon in, Mew is the first of very few Pokemon in S tier. Well, would you look at that, another blue shiny Pokemon. This one doesn't quite hit the same with a much softer blue, but it's not bad. I'll give it B tier. Alright, I hate to say it because I love Gengar, but this one's a joke. Gengar has arguably the worst shiny to ever exist. I just don't get it. Easiest decision of my life, F tier. I won't drag this one out since I just got done talking about Nidoran male not too long ago. Similar shiny, similar ranking. Nidorino joins its family in B tier. Jigglypuff is an iconic Pokemon, but this shiny isn't. It's a shame because the bright green catches your eye, but the rest doesn't. Jigglypuff floats into C tier. If it's bold, it's gold, and Caterpie's shiny does just that. It's only deserving for one of the most famous bug-type Pokemon out there. Caterpie crawls into A tier. It's not all gloom and doom when it comes to this shiny. It's interesting and unique. It's not amazing, but I like it. I'll put it in B tier. Rattata has a shiny with potential. I think the green is a solid choice for this Pokemon, but I would have gone with something brighter myself. Rattata runs into C tier. There's something about this shiny that doesn't sit right with me. I don't know how to explain it because I love red shinies, but this one feels off. C tier for Sandslash. Unfortunately, this is a case of another great Pokemon with a not so great shiny. For some reason, Snorlax is still blue. Add another one to F tier. This is the definition of perfection. It's a blue duck. What else could you want? Psyduck waddles its way into S tier. Charmeleon shiny isn't bad, but that doesn't mean it's good either. I personally would have strayed away from the red, yellow, and orange colors. Let's put Charmeleon in C tier. I don't know why there's so many Pokemon with a shiny that is barely different from the original, and sadly, Persian is another victim of this. Persian pounces into F tier. I can't say I love the way Fearo's shiny looks. None of it really jumps out at you, but hey, at least it doesn't look exactly the same. Fearow flies into C tier. If you forgot that this is what Poliwag shiny looks like, I can't blame you. Might as well be the same Pokemon. Poliwag plops into F tier. If you were to ask every Pokemon fan what their favorite shiny Pokemon is, there's not a single person on this planet that would say Kadabra. Kadabra also goes in F tier. It's been a while, but we're finally looking at a decent shiny. Like I was talking about earlier, this is so much better than Machopp's shiny, even if it's not perfect. Machamp belongs to B tier. Drowsy's shiny is a welcome surprise. The entire Pokemon is different now, which is a breath of fresh air. Though I would have gone with different shades of pink and red myself. Drowsy dozes off in B tier. Bellsprout, or as I like to call it, Taco Bell Sprout, is a generational Pokemon, at least in my eyes. Its shiny is glowing, and that's about all you could ask for from a stick with leaves. Bellsprout sprouts into B tier. This one has a shiny similar to Spearow's, if you remember that from earlier on. I put Spearow in C tier, so it only seems fair that I give this one the same ranking. Pidgeot is a member of C tier. Diglett now has a blue nose, which is cute, but that's all that's changed, at least from what I can tell. Diglett burrows into C tier. Alakazam's shiny redeems itself after the two previous disastrous shinies in its evolutionary line. This is much more vibrant with the pink, even if the body is still yellow. Alakazam teleports into B tier. It's orange now. That's about all I can say about this shiny. If you like orange, then you probably love it, and if you don't like orange, then well, you probably don't love it. I'll be neutral and give it B tier. This one is a little bit of a disappointment, especially after seeing the shinies for Nidoran Female and Nidorina. Should have just stuck to pink. C tier for Nidoqueen. Blue eyes, blue nose, and that's good enough for me. If you couldn't tell, I like blue. A lot. Just look at me, in the background right now. Venonat is another bug Pokemon in B tier. This is basically a carbon copy of Jigglypuff's shiny, and that isn't a great thing. I'll copy the ranking Jigglypuff got and give Wigglytuff C tier. Ekans, which in case you didn't know, is snake spelled backwards. That has nothing to do with its shiny, I just don't really know what to say here other than I don't like it. Ekans slithers into C tier. Pikachu is the mascot for the biggest media franchise in the world, so it's only fitting it has an almost non-existent shiny. Make it make sense. A very disappointing F tier for Pikachu. Rapidash lost its shine that Ponyta once had with its blue flames. I think it would have made sense if they changed the body to be darker to match the ghost-like flames it has now, but they didn't. Rapidash dashes into C tier. This is a nice shiny. Yellow was a good choice, but I think it would have been fun to see a different color for the tongue. Lickitung is a solid B tier shiny. Slowbro is my best bro, and now it's a purple bro. The only thing I would change is the color of the shoulder on its tail. But other than that, I love it. A tier for my best bro. I'm not moved by this shiny, which is a shame. I just don't feel like the color scheme matches the type of Pokemon Vulpix is. I'll put it in C tier. Dugtrio has an identical shiny to Diglett. It's literally just 3 shiny Diglets. So if I gave Diglett C tier, I'm gonna do the same here. Dugtrio burrows into C tier. This is now an orange rat instead of a brown rat. I'm personally not a fan of rats, but the orange does grab my attention. Raticate squeaks into B tier. Oddish is either a plant or a vegetable, I'm not really sure, but what I do know is that this shiny makes it look more like one of those things. It's good, I'll plant Oddish in B tier. Remember how I said Graveler's shiny makes sense for the Pokemon that it is? Well, the same goes for Golem, but that still doesn't mean I like it. Golem rolls into C tier. Poliwhirl's shiny makes it look as if all they did was turn up the brightness. They could have at least done something with the swirl on its stomach. Sadly, this is another F tier shiny. Just like I said earlier for Charmeleon, I would have avoided going with this color scheme. Not because it's bad, but because it isn't all too different. Charmander starts with C, and that's the tier it's going in. This is an interesting one. It kind of gives me ghost type vibes with the silver and purple. It's unique, which is always nice. This is a tough one. I'll put it in B tier, though I'd say it's more borderline A tier. I personally would have liked to seen something different, but I guess you can't go wrong with green here. It's not my first choice, but it certainly isn't my last. B tier for the bat. Zapdos has one of, if not the worst shiny for any legendary Pokemon. Zapdos doesn't deserve this, it's really sad to see. Here's me placing it in F tier. Golduck should be a gold duck. They had a chance to do it with the original version, and they could have done it with its shiny. 2 missed opportunities. Just for that, Golduck gets C tier. A minty green shiny for Sandshrew isn't what I expect, but I like it. Although it's not perfect, it's a lot better than the shiny for Sandslash, at least in my opinion. Sandshrew digs into B tier. I wish Venusaur had a better shiny, but you can't always get what you wish for. Don't get me wrong, I love the gold flower, but the rest of it is subpar. Venusaur hops into C tier. Growlithe is a super cute Pokemon, but I can't say the same for its shiny. It's bland and you kind of forget about it after not seeing it for a while. This is another C tier shiny. Gyarados has a shiny that most Pokemon fans are probably familiar with, largely thanks to Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This one is executed to perfection. It's just so good. It feels like it's been a million years, but S tier finally gets another shiny Pokemon in Gyarados. Nidoking shiny is fit for a king. It's without a doubt the best looking shiny in the Nidoran family. Nidoking stomps into A tier. Not only is Kakuna's name fun to say, but its shiny is fun to look at. They did a nice job with the shinies for middle stage bug type Pokemon. Kakuna cocoons into A tier. Voltorb is really just a Pokeball with eyes, so instead of the red color we're used to, it's now blue, more like a Great Ball. I like it, I'll toss it into B tier. I'm gonna be completely honest, Pinsir is one of my least favorite Pokemon, but with all biases aside, this shiny isn't bad, even if I'm not fond of the Pokemon. The best I can do is B tier. There's one word I would use to describe the shiny for Paris. Orange. It was orange before, and it's even more orange now. It's a C tier shiny Pokemon. Purple starts with a P, and you know what else starts with P? Perfection. That's what this shiny is. I love Lapras, and I might even love its shiny more. Lapras takes a lap in S tier. Not much has changed for Squirtle shiny, other than its green shell that reminds me of a Koopa from Mario. Just for that alone, I'll put it in C tier. I don't know what's the deal with so many shinies having this shade of green, but it's not my cup of tea. Onix tunnels into C tier. Arcanine is known as the legendary Pokemon, and this shiny makes it feel more like one, though I would have liked to see the rest of it be more different outside of its main body. Arcanine has a B tier shiny. This one has an interesting color scheme. It's not what I would have gone with, but I still think it looks halfway decent. Bye Butterfree, welcome to B tier. Aerodactyl has a pink shiny, so you already know that's a good start. Combined with its blue wings, I gotta say I love this cotton candy look. Aerodactyl flies into A tier. Nope, not a fan of this shiny. There's 2 different colors being used here from what I can tell, and they're way too similar. Magmar is getting escorted into C tier. Pidgeotto mirrors the shiny of its evolution, which isn't good. It doesn't help that both Pokemon already look the same to begin with. The bird goes into C tier. Bulbasaur shiny lacks one thing the rest of its evolutionary line had going for them, and that's the golden bulb or flower. I'll give it a very generous C tier. Staryu isn't a star when it comes to this shiny. It just doesn't feel cohesive, if that makes any sense. Staryu is our 4th consecutive Pokemon in C tier. Blastoise takes the good part of Squirtle's shiny, the green shell, and combines it with a different look. The purple doesn't quite hit the same as it does on Lapras, but it's still great. Blastoise blasts into A tier. Farfetch'd appears to be another Pokemon guilty of just turning up its brightness and calling it a day. I put this one in B tier by mistake, it's actually C tier. This color combination isn't for me, but it might be for someone else. Dodrio has 3 heads, and C is the 3rd letter in the alphabet. This 3-headed Pokemon goes in C tier. Seals are one of my favorite animals, so it pains me to see a shiny like this. It's gonna go in C tier for now, but as someone from the future, you might see its ranking change soon. This is what I want to see when I talk about green shinies. It's bright and bold, but the rest of Marowak isn't. Marowak is heading to B tier. I appreciate them trying to make it have a stark contrast from the original Exeggutor. The only problem is that it doesn't always translate to an amazing shiny. It's fine though, it's another B tier shiny. Forgettable is the word I would use to describe this shiny. It's just boring and basic. Rhydon rides on down to C tier. Brown ears are now a thing of the past with this Pokemon. Clefable shiny now gives it green ears, but that's literally the only difference. C tier is an easy decision here. I don't like Mimes, but I do like this shiny. The green is good, but it's missing a little something extra. Mr. Mime can go in B tier. I might have mentioned it before, but going from blue to pink is always a good choice. Just give the shell a different color and it would have a better ranking. Ammonite scooches into B tier. This is one of the few times when adding green to a shiny doesn't feel right, though I do think it has more to do with the really light body color that makes it look off. C is for Chansey and so is C tier. Flareon is definitely the worst of the bunch when it comes to shiny evolutions from Generation 1. If I wasn't paying attention, I would think this is a regular Flareon. Flareon flares in F tier. We're back again with the green ears. No reason to drag this one out. Clefairy will be receiving the same ranking as Clefable, which means it's going into C tier. Amistar is a scarier looking version of Ammonite. The one thing that didn't change is it's shiny, because they both look the exact same. Amistar joins his buddy Ammonite in B tier. Grimer's shiny still makes it look like a pile of sludge, so I'll give them that. But I like the original purple color a lot more. C tier for Grimer. Having bright pink makes this an automatic B tier shiny, not to mention it also fits really well for this Pokemon, though I would have changed the color for its hair or its face and hands. Jinx journeys into B tier. Okay, so do you remember how I said I might change my mind on Seal's ranking? Well, after seeing Dugong, I realized that I was wrong. Both are horrible shinies. Dugong goes in F tier, and Seal gets moved into F tier as well. This is like the shiny for Blastoise, but with a different colored shell in the front. I think adding the orange here makes for a weird color combination, but it's not terrible. Wartortle belongs to B tier. Tentacool has a cool shiny, and honestly it looks kinda similar to Wartortle shiny. It's too cool for C tier and not cool enough for A tier. Tentacool is gonna chill in B tier. Vaporeon was blue and now it's pink. Interchanging those two colors is always a recipe for success. This is one of the best evolution shinies. I'll plop it in A tier. Muck shiny is essentially a worse version of Grimer's, but I don't think that justifies it being placed in F tier, cause that seems a little harsh. Muck and Grimer are reunited in C tier. It seems like we've seen a lot of green today, haven't we? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't feel like it works here. Doduo and its two heads are in C tier. Speaking of green, here's a botch shiny. I hope when we see Mega Dragonite that the shiny is pink or blue. That'd be really neat. It's not bad enough to put in F tier, but I'll put it in C tier. Meowth, that's right. Or in this case, that's wrong, cause I'm not feeling this shiny. I always welcome pink being added to shinies, but you just gotta do more here. Meowth is our 4th consecutive Pokemon in C tier. Articuno and Uno must stand for the number I would give this shiny on a scale from 1 to 10, cause it's a letdown. It seems to be a pattern from the legendary birds in this generation. Articuno flies into F tier. Tentacruel is a Pokemon that has grown on me as I've gotten older, and so has this shiny. It fits the aquatic theme nicely. The tentacles should have a different color though. B tier doesn't seem too cruel for Tentacruel. Mewtwo's shiny has a green tail and I think it looks sick. I love me some Mewtwo and I think if they would have chosen a different body color, it would have S tier potential. Mewtwo still gets a well-deserved A tier ranking. I absolutely love the way Ghastly's shiny looks in this artwork, but for some reason it doesn't look this good in the games to me. It probably has a lot more to do with the sprites than the shiny itself. A tier for Ghastly. Orange and yellow are too similar for the entire Pokemon to be comprised of those two colors. Some variation would work well here. Parasect crawls into C tier. Another evolution. This time it's Jolteon. I'd say it's better than Flareon, but not as good as Vaporeon. By that logic, Jolteon jolts into B tier. Horsey is a seahorse, which are actually pretty cool creatures if you've ever seen one. I think a yellow shiny here would have been much more fitting. Horsey sees C tier in its future. Machoke rhymes with artichoke, and it looks like one here. I would have gone with the shade of green that was used on Machamp instead. Still, not the worst, but it's C tier. A blue tongue for Haunter is the headliner for this shiny. I do like this change, but it's the only noticeable change. Haunter flows into C tier. Primeape is known for being angry, and it probably wouldn't be too happy with my thoughts on its shiny. It's not a Pokemon I'd want to shiny hunt, let's just say that. Primeape rages into C tier. Shelder properly demonstrates how orange should be used here. I don't know if I've ever used a Shelder in one of my playthroughs, but I definitely would if I had this shiny. A tier for Shelder. This Hypno shiny is great, I love it. The only thing missing that would bump it up a notch for me is the pendulum color. Still, Hypno gets a highly respectable A tier ranking. Kingler is one of 2 Pokemon with the word king in its name, but I would say the shiny feels more like a prince. It isn't quite at the level of a king, but it has potential. B tier feels right for Kingler. Tauros embraces a lot of green here, and I have to say it isn't all too bad. It is a little overkill in my opinion. Tauros stampedes into B tier. We were just discussing Kingler shiny a few moments ago, and now we're back with Krabby. Both are green and both look different, but I can't say I like one more than the other. Krabby is another crab in B tier. This is our 4th consecutive green shiny Pokemon in Zubat. Must have been someone's favorite color. We don't see black shinies all too much, but I feel like this would have been a great opportunity for one. Zubat goes in B tier. Pidgey is the very first bird Pokemon in the Pokedex, but it might have the worst shiny of the bunch. Nothing about this screams shiny to me. Pidgey pecks its way into F tier. Hitmonchan can pack a punch, but what about its shiny? Well, I think it's kind of unusual looking, but I can get behind it. The blue boxing gloves jump it up a tier for me. It's B tier for Hitmonchan. What is going on with all the green? Anyway, it's a good choice here. I didn't like this one at first, but now I do. Vileplume ventures into A tier. There's a lot to weep about with Weepinbell Shiny, mostly due to it being marginally different from its non-shiny version. It gets a very generous C tier. Electrode Shiny takes Voltorb Shiny and inverts it, which isn't bad. Since they're basically reverse versions of each other, I'll give them the same ranking. Electrode rolls into B tier. Seadra and Tentacool give off very similar vibes with the purple and green action, and because of that, I'm gonna give them similar rankings. Seadra has a B tier shiny. You are currently looking at Goldeen Shiny, though if I didn't tell you that, you probably wouldn't even notice. Goldeen Shiny is far from gold. It's an F tier shiny. It's nice to see some effort being made with the entire part of Koffing being a different color, rather than just the body. It's good enough to be in B tier, so that's where it's gonna go. Geodude definitely features the best shiny out of its evolutionary line. It looks like a gold nugget, which is very fitting for this Pokemon. I don't think it's quite at A tier, but I'm gonna roll it in B tier. Dragonair mimics Dratini's shiny and I love it. With the way how this video has gone, you probably already knew that. Add another Pokemon to A tier. Eevee is a lot of people's favorite Pokemon, and rightfully so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt this is anyone's favorite shiny. It's so bright. Eevee enters F tier. Cubone is a very sad Pokemon, if you know its backstory. And looking at this shiny makes me sad. They should have used the same green Marowak shiny has. It's a C tier shiny. Weezing is a lit up version of Koffing, and that's about the only visible difference. I don't think it justifies a lower or higher ranking than Koffing, so Weezing goes into B tier. I didn't realize until making this video how many good shiny bug type Pokemon there are. Beedrill's shiny is so clean, almost perfect. Beedrill buzzes into A tier. I don't know what color this actually is, but my guess is some form of brown. As I see it, Rhyhorn got a glow down with this alternate look. This is C tier for me. When designing Scyther's shiny, they decided to give it some pink, which I like. Unfortunately, that's all they decided to do. Scyther slices into C tier. Cloyster takes a much different route than Shellder in terms of its shiny, and I have to say I like them both in equal amount, even if one is blue and the other is orange. Cloyster is being placed in B tier. I hate to say it, but I'm not feeling this one. The shinies for Starmie and Staryu just feel off in my opinion. Starmie joins a long list of Pokemon in C tier. A very strange decision was made for Kangaskhan's shiny, and that was just to change the top of its head from black to green and call it a day. That alone puts it in F tier. Going from blue to green usually doesn't make that much of a difference for shiny Pokemon, but it does in Tangela's case. It definitely stands out now, which I like. Tangela gets tangled up in A tier. The shiny for Seaking gives it a slightly yellow tint, and I don't really see the vision here, if there even is one. It's very underwhelming. Seaking is going to see itself in F tier. I've always been a fan of Electabuzz. The shiny is a different story. I don't know what Electabuzz is actually supposed to be, but now it looks more like a tiger than anything. I'd say it's a C tier shiny. We are looking at a golden fish, and it's absolutely goated. Might even be the best shiny of all time. It's beautiful. Magikarp's golden shiny is, without a doubt, S tier. I have a hard time pronouncing this Pokemon's name for some reason, so I'm only going to say it once. Execute is comprised of yellow eggs with this shiny, which seems good to me, but not great. I'll softly place these eggs in B tier. Porygon has always been an interesting Pokemon to me. I honestly think the non-shiny version is the best it'll ever look, but the shiny isn't too shabby. It's pretty good, A tier for Porygon. We're down to our final 4 Pokemon, and Kabuto is next. Still don't know where its eyes actually are. It's very reminiscent of Tangela's shiny. This fossil Pokemon goes in A tier. Coincidentally, Kabutops is next up on this list. A more lime type of green is used this time, which I don't like as much. I'll bump it down because of that. Kabutops is dropped into B tier. Hitmonlee is here, and so is green. We're almost free from it. I'm gonna stay consistent with my other rankings for similar Pokemon. Hitmonlee kicks its way into B tier. At long last, we're finally down to our last shiny Pokemon, and of course, it's Charizard. Whether you love or hate Charizard, you have to admit, this is one of the greatest shinies in all of Pokemon. Charizard, welcome to a short list of S tier shiny Pokemon. That's gonna do it for today's ranking of every shiny Pokemon from Generation 1. Right now on screen, you're looking at the final tier list in its full form. I had a lot of fun with this, and I hope you did too. Let me know what you think of my ranking in the comments. I'm interested to hear everyone's opinions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.